It was early evening, the sun still hanging low enough to cast golden light over our quiet suburban street. I was walking Max, my 3-year-old German shepherd, who trotted along beside me with his usual mix of alertness and excitement. His tail wagged, ears flicking at every sound, the chirp of crickets, the faint hum of a neighbor's lawnmower, even the distant bark of another dog. Max was well trained. I'd spent months on obedience classes, and he was so good with people that the neighborhood kids often came to give him treats. But I also knew that not everyone loved dogs, and one person in particular had made that fact crystal clear. Marlene Duval. Marlene was the sort of neighbor who collected grievances like they were trophies. Too much noise? She'd file a complaint. Grass an inch too tall? Expect a note on your door. And she absolutely loathed animals, especially dogs. We'd crossed paths before. She once yelled at me from her porch because Max had looked at her petunias. I'd laughed it off then, but lately she'd become more hostile. So when I saw her standing in her driveway, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, I braced myself. "Control your beast," she called out before I was even close. "He's on a leash," I said calmly, giving Max the heel command. "I don't care. That animal shouldn't be allowed in this neighborhood." I rolled my eyes. "He's never hurt anyone." Marlene sniffed, glaring at Max like he'd just keyed her car. "Give it time." I tried to keep walking, but she wasn't finished. "Do you even have the right permits for him?" she asked. I stopped and turned. "Permits? He's a family dog, not a dangerous exotic pet." "You'd be surprised what counts as dangerous these days," she said, lips curling into a smirk. "Big dogs like that, they're unpredictable. One wrong move and—" Max sat calmly at my side, looking up at her with the kind of patient dignity only dogs seem to have. I gave his head a quick scratch. "Unpredictable, huh?" I said. "He's better behaved than most people I know." Her eyes narrowed at the jab. "Mark my words, he's a menace, and when something happens, you'll wish you'd listened to me." I turned away, deciding she wasn't worth it. We kept walking, and I heard her muttering behind me, but I couldn't make out the words. Later that night, I saw a post on the neighborhood Facebook group. "Beware! Large, aggressive dog spotted on Pine Hollow Drive. Owners are careless. Could be dangerous to children and elderly neighbors." She hadn't mentioned my name, but the photo she'd posted of Max, taken without my permission, made it clear who she was talking about. The next week was tense. Everywhere I went with Max, I could feel eyes on us. People I used to chat with gave polite nods but kept their distance. A few parents pulled their kids away when we walked past. One morning, I came out to find an anonymous note stuck under my windshield wiper. I knew exactly who had put it there. By Thursday, Marlene escalated things. I was sitting on my porch, enjoying my coffee, when I saw her marching up the sidewalk with her phone out. She stopped right in front of my yard, recording Max as he lay sunbathing behind the fence. "What are you doing?" I called out. "Gathering evidence," she replied matter-of-factly. "You'll thank me when the authorities get involved." "For what?" "Waiting until that monster attacks someone. It's only a matter of time." I laughed, but it wasn't because I found it funny. I'd had enough. "Marlene, if you don't like my dog, stay away from my property. He's never hurt anyone, and you're starting to cross the line into harassment." "Harassment? This is community safety," she shot back. Max barked once. Not a growl, just a loud, sharp bark. Marlene flinched and took a step back. "See? Aggressive." That Saturday, the situation reached boiling point. I was out front trimming the hedges when Max, leashed and tethered to a stake in the yard, lay peacefully in the shade. Marlene came walking down the street with 2 grocery bags. She spotted us immediately and sighed in theatrical exasperation. "Still parading that thing around?" she called. I ignored her and kept trimming. She walked faster, muttering something about animal control, and as she passed the hedge, Max stood and wagged his tail. His leash was long enough for him to be a few feet from the sidewalk, but still well within our yard. "Keep him back," she snapped, clutching her bags tighter. "He's literally sitting in my yard, Marlene." Her eyes flicked down to her sandals, and she noticed a small stick lying on the sidewalk. She actually kicked it toward him. It bounced harmlessly a few feet from Max. "See how he reacts to that," she muttered. Max sniffed it, then sat back down. I smirked. "Looks like your test failed." Her face flushed red, and she marched off without another word. The following day, I came home from work to find the latch on my front gate unhooked. My stomach dropped. Max was still in the yard, thank God, but I knew he hadn't unhooked it himself. I checked the security camera feed from my phone, and sure enough, there was Marlene, mid-afternoon, walking up to my gate. She peered around, unhooked the latch, and then quickly walked away, like she hadn't just committed trespassing. I was furious. The next morning, I confronted her as she was picking up her mail. "Stay away from my property, Marlene. I saw what you did yesterday." She didn't even flinch. "I was checking to make sure your fence wasn't a hazard." "A hazard?" I repeated. "A faulty latch could let that animal loose. I was helping you." "You're lucky I don't call the cops," I said. Her smirk returned. "Go ahead. Tell them the truth. How your dangerous dog is one loose latch away from attacking someone." That night, I took extra care to secure the latch with a padlock. I figured that would be the end of it. I was wrong. 2 days later, I was in the front yard watering the flower beds when I heard the sound of grocery bags crinkling. Marlene was coming down the sidewalk again. Max was lying quietly in the grass, tethered and calm. As she passed, she gave me the usual glare. But then, her right sandal caught on a raised bit of sidewalk. She stumbled forward, one bag tearing open as she tried to catch her balance. An orange rolled into the yard, stopping right in front of Max. He sniffed it, tail wagging. Marlene, flustered and annoyed, stepped into my yard to grab it, without asking. And that's when it happened. Max barked once, startled by her sudden approach. Marlene jumped, losing her balance again, and in the chaos she reached out, grabbing his collar to steady herself. Max yelped in surprise and twisted away, teeth brushing her hand. It wasn't a deep bite, more of a startled nip, but it was enough to make her gasp and clutch her wrist. "You see," she shouted, pointing at me, "I told you he was dangerous." "You grabbed him," I shot back. Neighbors started appearing on porches, drawn by the shouting. Someone was already on the phone, and I couldn't tell if it was animal control or the police. Marlene's eyes were wild, triumphant even through her faux injury. "This ends today," she hissed. "I'm getting rid of that mutt one way or another." She stormed off toward her house, clutching her wrist, already rehearsing whatever story she planned to tell. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed with an anonymous text. It was a photo of Max, taken from inside my backyard.